Hi, hello, what's up, and welcome. The sun is hiding and the magpie is casting. Coming to you guys today with a live 1 versus 1 replay featuring spawning in the south. It's going to be the United States forces of HelpingHans. And spawning in the north, it's going to be the Wehrmacht forces of IIPLIICaptainSPrice. So both of these players, of course, pretty much, I would say, almost regulars now on the channel. We've had them on quite a few times. And between you and me, I think we might be in for a bit of a treat here. The map today is going to be Sturzdorf. One of the newer maps, and frankly, one of the ones that I just don't see that often on the matchmaking. I don't know why. I guess a lot of players must have it vetoed for one reason or another. I guess it is fairly unusual. Doesn't really bear a lot of resemblances to many of the other maps that you see in the matchmaking pool. So I guess a lot of players maybe perhaps don't feel fully comfortable here. I'm just panning around the map now to give you kind of an overview of the map. It is mostly sort of built up, very few natural terrain features. A lot of buildings to use and abuse with MGs and all of that kind of good stuff. And also a lot of kind of mixed cover, but also a lot of big open areas. So I think weapon teams, MGs particularly, at least in the early game, pretty good on this map. Anyway, yeah, I think we're in for a bit of a treat. The reason being, we've got HelpingHans, who is one of the top players in the game and one of the most competent players who I've had the pleasure of casting over the last month or two, or three, or however long I've been doing this. You know what? I should probably check on that. And his opponent, of course, is going to be CaptainSPrice, another like reasonably well-known player who's right up at the top of the game, and who always tends to use pretty idiosyncratic tactics. I really like the stuff he pulls out the bag. It's usually fairly individual. It's usually fairly I don't know. It just feels like he's a really unusual player who just does things his way. He's almost like the Bomber of Company of Heroes 2. Those of you who watch StarCraft may be familiar with Bomber, the Terran player. Just does things his own way, but is incredibly potent, and for some reason just makes it work every time. So anyway, let's have a look at the teching here. Seems like the American player's gone for 2 rifles and 2 rear echelons, so that means he's built 2 rifles and built 1 rear echelon. And seems like CaptainSPrice, he's gone for Grenadier into Sniper into Grenadier, I think was the build order. So pretty typical stuff. The Wehrmacht sniper, ever good against the United States forces at this stage in the game. The USF obviously don't have access to a machine gun team or a mortar team, so two of the options which can help against a sniper. Actually, who am I kidding? MG teams are rubbish against snipers, but they don't have a mortar, and that can often help against snipers. They don't have access to a scout car until the lieutenant and so on. So initial skirmish being taken in middle as the sniper capping up his first kill. Looks like he's going to get a second here. Grenadiers just going to kind of get behind some cover and look to exchange with these riflemen. Second squad of Grenadiers coming into the fight, and I think seeing that, HelpingHans going to get these riflemen out of the building. And no, looks like he's going back for more. So possibly just seeking just to abuse the in-out micro here. There we go, fun times. This is enabling him to put some damage on whilst thwarting the efforts of the sniper. However, I really think the only one who's getting any damage in here is CaptainSPrice. If you look at the health on this rifleman squad, they ain't doing so good. And was that the sound of a rifle grenade I just heard? Not sure. No, didn't hear it.
Fresh Grenadier squad.
So that was an awkward game to play. I guess he just realised that there was no way he was ever going to win that fight, so he might as well play for as much time as he could with that rifleman squad. And to that end, started popping in and out of the building. Looks like we've got a scuffle up here in the north. Squad of riflemen going to take on these pioneers. The sniper, Zamija, is going to come on up to help. Of course, riflemen, reasonably expensive on a per model basis, so the sniper gets a good amount of experience for capping them off. Bang! And he's up to, how many kills we got now? 4. That's half a level of veterancy. Taking a little bit of fire from those rear echelons. Needs to take care. These Grenadiers, a little bit idle here in mid. I mean, they're capturing a point and the other squad is covering them, so I mean, not idle. But I dare say if he wanted to, he could split those squads and be more effective with his time. Although, having said that, there are a lot of American forces in the area, you can see from the minimap. So possibly CaptainSPrice, knowing better than I do, possibly. No, of course CaptainSPrice knows better than I do. I get the feeling that he's a much more competent player. Anyway, the Major getting settled in for an extended American duck hunt here. He's on 6 kills now. Looks like he's just trying to cap down this rear echelon squad. This is some fantastic sort of anti-sniper micro that HelpingHans seems to be using to... this is risky now though. He's on 1 man in this squad. That is super risky. The sniper looking for the kill. Looks like he's not going to get it, going instead for the rifleman down here. And that's going to help turn the tide as these Grenadiers engage them. Now at 4-2. Meanwhile, a lieutenant is the choice of teching here for the American player HelpingHans. That's going to run straight on in. The BAR, the Tommy gun, making light work. And we might see our first squad wipe here if CaptainSPrice is very unlucky. Let's have a look. Nope, seems those Grenadiers gonna get out of there scot-free. Or rather, that one Grenadier. Oh no! Oh no! Rear echelons coming round for the squad wipe. Helping Hands with fantastic map presence and awareness. Gonna bring those rear echelons in and seal the deal on those Grenadiers. They're gonna go down. That leaves Captain Price a squad down. And if you look at the top left, look at the top right, when you're like 5 minutes 20 into a game that's looked like this, that's actually a big deal. He finds himself at... Okay, actually he's ahead on supply, but only because a sniper costs so much supply. He's behind on units though, and there's an American AA half-track coming. So let's check the tech here for CaptainSPrice. We see that he has escalated to Battle Phase 1. We see that he's building his Like the Mechanized company. But I don't think this is early enough that there's not going to be a window that the American player can exploit with this AA half-track for potentially good damage. So I'd say he's going to have about a minute, maybe 90 seconds of uninterrupted AA half-tracking. Let's see what Helping Hands can make happen with this. This is a pretty potent unit. Here it comes. Looks like he's got the old blood-spattered camo on that one there. And I'm just going to take a sip of my tea as this battle begins. Now, a Panzerfaust comes down very rapidly. Captain Price knows what he needs to do and is trying to get it done, but there's another potential squad wipe going on this Grenadier. The Rifleman maneuvering for position. Looks like he's actually going to get away. Now, where are those rear echelons that were here earlier? No longer in position. They've moved on. They've moved on or fallen back. So that Grenadier squad is going to escape. Now, the AA half-track has its engine damage. That limits its aggressive powers. So I think that pretty much that went about the best it could possibly go for CaptainSPrice. You know, this is kind of making the minimum possible use of this window of AA half-track that the American player has. So this is pretty much the best case scenario for CaptainSPrice. He's gone for a pack gun. That's going to be his choice of anti-vehicle to try and help bring down this AA half-track. Not sure I like that. Reason being, I quite like the 222 scout car ever since I saw Gentle Fox use one to take down an AA half-track. It seems if you just micro the 222 scout car so that it stays in front of the half-track no matter where it points, then the half-track's never going to hit you and you're going to destroy it. Now the pack gun comes out into a good position, catches the AA half-track in its arc. Now that is going to have to scurry on out of there, and it is just going to escape before a second shot can be fired. Rear echelon troops flanking left of this AT gun. They're maybe going to seek to use a building just to put some damage on. Of course, their damage over time not very impressive. But there are riflemen and a lieutenant squad nearby without very much support. Here comes a Grenadier squad. They've got an LMG-42, as does the other Grenadier squad. CaptainSPrice playing what I can only describe as a remarkably orthodox playstyle here. Displaying none of the usual quirkiness or idiosyncrasy that I tend to see from him, which probably in itself is quite idiosyncratic. It's like he's metaing himself. He's like, haha, the last thing they'll expect is for me to play standard. So, yeah, he's gone for a pretty standard Vermac build here. Anyway, AA half-track still in a good position. That will probably see off these Pioneers. Looks like they're going to try and get this point decapped. Of course, that's pretty important right now for CaptainSPrice. He finds himself right now at 412 under 499, so he trails by, what, 77 points right now. That's pretty... Sorry, 87 points, 89 now. That's quite the deficit to find yourself at when you're playing against USF and you're only 8 minutes into the game. USF, of course, do have a very strong early game, but they're not bad in the mid and late these days. The addition of the heavy cavalry commander has really helped them out in the late game. That Pershing, used well by a player with the proper understanding, quite the potent unit. Helping Hands, though, seemingly, he's gone for the rifle company at a later point than usual. So anyway, he's going to have access to flamethrowers on his rifleman. Look out for that. Oh dear, the sniper gets caught out in the open. Flames splashing all over him. Zamaja running for his life. But he's amazingly going to survive. God, I thought for sure he was going to go down there. I think Helping Hands pretty unlucky not to get the kill there on that sniper. Grenadiers moving forward. We've got another skirmish up here in the north, just involving the AA half-track and some Grenadiers. So they're just going to have to fall back. Unfortunately, when units are fully pinned, they can't capture points. And so staying there would have been no good. And we'll see. Has he been able to retreat in time? I mean, is that 250 cals or 230 cals? Whatever it is, it's a pretty intimidating array of Dakar mounted on that AA half-track. Now, Vermac forces, let me crack the tack to elucidate. Vermac forces establishing a decent position in mid. We've got the AA, we've got the pack gun. We've got a couple of squads of Grenadiers. The sniper has now been healed. He's coming out. We've got some Pioneers. So this now is pretty much the Axis hardpoint. We've got a utility car flanking to the north. So keep your eye on the minimap and see if that's going to try and come into this fight from an unexpected angle to give Helping Hands the edge. Pack gun set up in a great position, of course. That gets a terrific hit, and it probably will get another. Oh. Helping Hands playing with fire here. The pack gun is set up. Does it have line of sight? It just needs some line of sight. But seemingly, it's not going to happen. So it's going to get back. I don't mind I don't mind trying to put it in this light cover here. I don't know where it's off to now. Oh, do you think he's going after the utility car with it? Possibly. Anyway, Rifleman going to get into one of these sheds, and that's going to put the fiery pressure on these Grenadiers. They're going to have to get back the Major. He's back in the fight. 20 kills on that Major. He's up to 2-star veterancy, so he's got the rate of fire increases now, an even deadlier sniper. But here comes a kind of flanking run by rear echelons and a squad of the Lieutenant squad coming in here. That's going to be bad times. The Major needs to shoot and scoot now. He really needs to be scooting, not shooting. And he's going to try and get out of there. There's probably a squad wipe going on these Grenadiers. Things not going quite to plan for CaptainSPrice. Flamer's going to get on top of the Pat gun. That's going to enable the AA half-track to have free reign over this battle now. A double Panzerfaust is going to take care of the utility car. There is a bazooka on the ground here, so that can be taken advantage of by CaptainSPrice if he manages to get it. Likewise, HelpingHans, I'm sure, would love to get his hands on the Zook there, representing, I believe, they cost 60 munitions. Or actually, were they patched down to cost 50? I can't remember. Let me just check. A bazooka, yeah, they cost 50 now. That's pretty cool.
Territory is out of contact. Enemy forces.
So, seemingly taking that fight handily, HelpingHans, he's going to secure himself the middle of the map. The Axis hardpoint was brushed aside by the American tech there. The AA half-track utility car, and some canny flanking from infantry, able to get the job done there for HelpingHans. But CaptainSPrice's base is not far away, so he's reinforced, he's healed his units, he's coming back out onto the field. Let me check the teching here for CaptainSPrice. I see him using redistribute resources a lot, and of course he has gone for the close air support doctrine, which basically consists of a load of munition dumps and a way of getting more munitions. So pretty, straightforward commander there. He doesn't pull any punches. Just going to call in all of the Luftwaffe upon you. So that's the plan there. Now these engineers are incredibly clustered. There's no grenade package upgrade yet from the American player, but damn, if a pineapple was to be thrown in between those two rail carriers, that would be desperate times for Captain Price. Speaking of desperate times, we're now at the 12-minute mark. He's at 3:34 now under the 499 of the American player. So unable to gain any traction right now. His Wehrmachty wheels just slipping in the mud right now. He's looking for a way out. He's trying to get something done, but here comes a call in. It's a white phosphorus barrage right behind the Axis line. Captain Price opting to come forwards rather than try and disperse in a sort of a convex, kind of like, a circle spreading out. So he's going to come forward sensibly enough, but that does leave the Pat gun on perilously low health, and some of his other units also took some damage from the barrage. White phosphorus, of course, utterly evil stuff. You don't want to get that anywhere near you. Yeah, doing good damage to those exposed infantrymen. Now, I'd love to see CaptainSPrice. There aren't very few American units in the north of the map. Now, there's a 50 cal moving into position, so actually I take that back. But there was probably a window where if he'd have sent a unit to the north, CaptainSPrice may have been able to get some work done insofar as chewing up land is concerned. Now, the 50 cal is going to get set up in what I have to say is an interesting position. I think I prefer this building because that way it can cover these 2 points, which are the salient matters on that area of the map. Now, the Pat gun gets a good hit on the AA half-track. It's going to force that to be scarce. HelpingHans, as ever, very handy on the micro on that unit. That thing has 10 kills, 1.25 level veterancy, so it's definitely done okay for itself. Well, I would say pretty well, especially in the face of what is now 2 Pat guns. And a number of grenadiers. So we're up to 4 grenadier squads, 2 Pat guns, all pretty standard stuff from CaptainSPrice, which I almost can't believe I'm saying. Because, I mean, let's not forget, CaptainSPrice, we're talking about the same man here who, when he played as the Soviets, made like 7 squads of snipers and at any one time had at least 3 active. We're talking about the CaptainSPrice who, when he played as American forces, didn't build a single squad of riflemen and went up to like 11 squads of rear echelons. This guy, when he feels like playing unorthodox, he just cracks something crazy out the toolkit. But the best thing is he makes it work. He's not having so much luck right now with his with this standard build, and I don't really think that's necessarily entirely his fault. He's actually playing incredibly well. Good rifle grenade onto this 50 cal squad here might enable some work to be done here. No, sadly, this one rifleman going to be able to man the gun and suppress all of this infantry. That is going to force them all back. These pioneers have been forgotten about for now. They're getting massacred. They need to fall back, and they will. So CaptainSPrice is displaying good awareness there. But as I was saying, I don't really feel like Captain Price has made any massive blunders. He's certainly played very conservatively and kept almost all his units alive. Good veterancy on them. He's just not been able to hold the ground he needs out on the map. And that's pretty much because HelpingHans has been playing incredibly well. But for the first time now, most of the American forces are forced back to reinforce at base, and there's a window of opportunity here. As you can see, a couple of Axis squads still on the map. They're going to actually be grabbing territory out here. Are they capping this point? Yeah, they are capping this point. CaptainSPrice finds himself at last out from under the clock. possibly not for very long, but making some ground at last. He also has by far the healthier resource situation, plus 26 and plus 42 fuel and munitions respectively, over the 7 and 11 of the American player. So by capping this point here, this of course is the cutoff point. Captain Price finally being able to catch up a little bit, at least insofar as resources go, crucially not insofar as those victory points go. Now the AA half-track, it's a fantastic angle, the pack gun turns, but I believe, no, the AA half-track's not going to be able to get out of the arc. There could be a Faust coming down here, and there is. The AA half-track bites the dust at last, but we've got a big fan out of American infantry, 2 flamethrowers leading the charge. Here comes the air support from Captain Price. The Stuka's going to be coming in with an anti-infantry strafe, and there it is. That's going to force the fallback from all this American infantry. Many squads on one man here, well 2 squads on one man here, lucky not to be squad wiped, and Captain Price taking a decisive engagement there. Wow, as Bobby D said, the times they are a-changing, and Captain Price moves out dominantly into the middle of the map. He's going to be grabbing in the north with this Grenadier squad, he's going to be grabbing a fuel point, he's going to be grabbing a victory point. It's all good times. After that fight, the scourge that has been this AA half-track has been destroyed, both pack guns still alive, and Captain Price now, this is a player who's taken fights before. You can see as soon as the fight's over, everyone spreads out. He's taking 1, 2, 3, 4 points on the map right now simultaneously while securing a hard point near the doorstep of the American player, looking to secure that sort of a lock. Now, an American major has made it onto the field, and is this an Easy 8 or a regular Sherman we have building? Can't quite tell from the outline, pretty sure that's a regular Sherman. Remember, of course, the American players now have to take the major and build the Easy 8 Sherman in the typical fashion. Although, actually, wait, I believe, doesn't that replace the option to build the usual Sherman? I could be wrong on that. Let me just check. No, it doesn't replace it. So, possibly Helping Hands opting to go for the regular Sherman here because of its flexible ammunition types, because of its reduced cost, because of the fact that he needs help sooner rather than later. So anyway, here comes the Sherman. Not nearly enough fuel to consider any kind of armoured response yet for Captain Price. A lot of Grenadiers here. They're going to be doing massive damage to this major. He's going to have to get back. And I believe the actual major himself, yeah, there he is in his greatcoat, was gunned down. That doesn't make much odds, of course. He'll just be reinforced. Always just a cinematic moment when the major gets gunned down. Anyway, M4A3 Sherman. So this is the regular Sherman. I'm guessing he's taken this because he hasn't seen any armor from the Axis player, and he really wants those HE shells, and that seems fair enough. I'd love to see him grab the pintle-mounted 50 caliber machine gun upgrade. That does add considerably to this vehicle's DPS. 2 pack guns here. A gross overextension from the Sherman. What is it doing? Where is it going? A Panzerfaust takes out the engine, and Helping Hands, I've got to say, that is not how you look after your armor. That was terrible. He was just rolling that tank through fog of war. A classic overextension there. The kind of thing I wouldn't have expected from Helping Hands. And with that, he's going to GG. And when you look at the forces on the map, when you look at the mini-map, when you look at the placement of the forces, you have to admit he was actually going to have a real hard time coming back in that one. I mean, I'm not sure he was out. He's at 454 tickets over 265. If he wanted to play from behind for some time, he could angle for a way back into this game, but it's going to be very hard work. And against a player of Captain Price's stature, you have to think that he's playing the small percentages there. He's playing the long odds of trying to come back into that game. So Helping Hands choosing that moment to GG, and you've got to say fair enough on that one. So a pretty good game from those 2 players. Very early dominance from the American player, but it all went wrong when he took this engagement here. Came in with the AA half-track, that got destroyed by pack guns, came in with a wall of infantry with flamers, and I kind of agree with Helping Hands, it was all looking good. But the Stuka anti-infantry strafing run came down. There was a squad of pioneers positioned here with a flamethrower, supported by a concave of Axis forces, and that was sufficient to put in some very heavy damage onto all of Helping Hands' units. And on the back of that fight, Captain Price took the map and sealed the deal. So good times from him. I believe that concludes this replay. Thank you very much for watching. I'll be uploading more in the very near future. And one final thing, actually. I was thinking of doing a sort of little 50 subscriber celebration. Now, obviously, you know, I'm not insane. 50 subscribers, I know, is not in the world of the internet a very big deal, but it's pretty, you know, I've never had 50 subscribers in my entire life for anything, so that's pretty cool. So I was thinking what I would do is possibly an Alco cast, where basically I'll come up with some sort of crazy drinking rules and attempt to make it through a cast under the influence of a number of shots. I thought that would be quite entertaining, both for me and for you guys at home. So if you think that's a good idea, do let me know. It's something I'm thinking about. And yeah, so for now, this is Magpie 842 signing out.